I'm a Black American. I'm proud to be a Black American. I am proud of my race. I am proud of who I am. I have a lot of pride in who I am and dignity.
Now, before I get into Michael Jackson's vitiligo story, please go and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell if you're looking for more video content like this. Now, let's discuss the severity of what one could experience being one with the skin disorder vitiligo. Any person with the skin disorder could exhibit social or psychological distress, bad sunburns, risk of melanoma, skin irritability, vision issues, hearing loss and whitening or loss of hair. Also thyroid issues and weight issues. All things Michael Jackson or anyone living with vitiligo can face or deal with. As of 2011, June 25th became World Vitiligo Day, and this video is dedicated to all who have dealt with and is currently dealing with this skin disorder. Today, on the 25th of June, the world lost a king named Michael Jackson during the year 2009. He is in high regard as one of the best-selling artists of all time. Around the world in media, there has been much speculation about a health condition, of course, as I mentioned, named vitiligo that Michael was suffering from, which is a rare skin condition that will slowly erase the skin pigmentation. The skin disease can be found in all races and walks of life, but the condition reads different on the skin of a black person. The speculation news media has spread whether he actually had vitiligo or whether he bleached his skin. Well, the truth about his story starts here.
Thank you. Oh, you're beautiful. Thank you.
Michael Jackson and Motown 25, May 16, 1983. That was the very first night that Michael donned his infamous sequin glove. Now, despite that was the biggest night of his adult solo career, he was hiding an issue with his skin that was developing since childhood called vitiligo. The depigmentation began on his hand and he wanted to keep that hidden. The glove was to keep the discoloration hidden from viewers and media attending the Motown event, but of course we know it became a part of his fashion, but the glove originally didn't start that way. Now Michael was realizing he couldn't always perform in the glove, so he began having his makeup artist put makeup on his hands and other areas like his face and chest as the vitiligo began to spread.
The vitiligo started happening relatively early. You know, he even was trying to hide it from me, to cover with makeup and even out his skin tone and everything until it just got so extensive. I mean, it's all over his body. We were always trying to hide it and cover it for the longest time until he just had to tell Oprah and tell the world, listen, I'm not trying to be white. I have a skin disease.
By the summer of 1983, Michael would attend a dermatology appointment at the office of Dr. Arnold Klein. This would be after Michael developed what he thought to be two terrible rashes on his cheeks and a line across the bridge of his nose that was always covered up with makeup while out in public or performing. Dr. Klein would inform Michael that this was something medically called butterfly rash, which is a telltale sign of the autoimmune disease called discoid lupus erythematosus, or just simply lupus.
I walked into the room with Michael, and I took one look at him, and I said, "You have lupus erythematosus." Now, this was a long word.
Lupus?
Lupus, yes. I mean, because he had red butterfly rash, and he also had severe crusting you could see on the anterior portion of his scalp.
Dr. Klein would officially diagnose Michael with vitiligo in the year of 1986. Between 1983 and 1986, Michael's vitiligo was spread to his face, in which mentioned in the Karen Faye interview earlier on that she and Michael would apply makeup to any spots noticeable when prepping for a public appearance or performance. Of course, with the spread of vitiligo in larger areas, it became harder for Michael and Karen to cover up all of those larger areas with makeup. Dr. Arnold Klein would treat Michael's skin with chemical peels, which was to help the skin irritability that Michael experienced as his vitiligo had spread even further, and the further spreading made his skin look noticeably lighter. Michael would begin pre-production on his Bad album with Quincy Jones as producer, like he was on the previous two albums, Thriller and Off the Wall. They would work together that entire year into the year 1987, which is around the time his vitiligo almost completely had taken over his face and neck. News media immediately hopped onto immediate stories and accusations about Michael wanting to be white and saying he was ashamed of who he was. Despite these things were being said, Michael would stay quiet and not entertain the mess of confusion they began to revolve around his skin issue with vitiligo. It wouldn't be revealed till 1993 about the severity of his skin condition. In the studio during recording, Quincy Jones and Michael would have deep and personal conversations about their lives and their families. And of course, during some of those conversations, Quincy would ask Michael why was he lightening his skin and give him a bit of a hard time due to his disbelief and feelings of claims that Michael was being self-destructive of himself, which put kind of a strain on their working relationship.
Well, something was wrong because somehow I think with just what was happening to his face, and I used to give him a hard time about the chemical peels and everything else, and he always would tell me things like, I have a blister on my lungs and all those kinds of things, and I swear I've got this disease and so forth. It was getting chemical peels and everything, and I don't know, in a way it was in denial. He wanted to look different, you know, and I guess that's a sort of a I don't know, self-destructive in a way. Yes, I think so.
Like the news media, Quincy had the ill misconception of Michael bleaching his skin. On the Bad album, Michael had written a song entitled Leave Me Alone, which took shots at the media and speculation against him. Despite he was asked to be left alone, the media wouldn't stop. He was being badgered left and right with accusations, all sorts of weirdness from sleeping in hyperbaric chambers, Bubbles the Chimp being his therapist, even something as silly as contact with extraterrestrials on the Neverland property, along with the tabloid stories of skin bleaching. Between 1987 and 1992, Michael would address some of the rumors through interviews without ever acknowledging the foolishness about his skin color. It would be 1993 that Michael would reveal to the world his shocking condition.
I took my baby on a Saturday day. Now I believe in miracles, and a miracle is happening tonight.
February 10th, 1993. Michael would open the gates of Neverland to talk show host Oprah Winfrey and would allow her to ask whatever she chose regarding rumors. Of course, one of the questions was regarding what she felt she needed to ask around the realms of skin bleaching and him not wanting to be black, which in my eyes was completely insulting, but here's Michael's response to that question.
Horrifying
Then let's go to the thing that is most discussed about you, I think, is the fact that the color of your skin is obviously different than it was when you were younger.
Yes.
And so I think it has caused a great deal of speculation and controversy as to what you have done or are doing. Are you bleaching your skin? And is your skin lighter because you don't like being black?
Okay, number one, as I know of, there is no such thing as skin bleaching. I have never seen it. I don't know what it is.
Well, they used to have those products growing up. I used to hear, always use bleach and glow, but you'd have to have about 300,000 gallons to...
Okay, number one, this is the situation. I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I cannot help, okay? But when people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
So it is
It's a problem for me, okay? I can't control it, okay? But what about all the millions of people? Let's reverse it.
Okay.
What about all the millions of people who sit out in the sun to become darker, to become other than what they are? Nobody says nothing about that.
So when did this start? When did the color of your skin start to change?
Oh boy, sometime after Thriller, around Off the Wall Thriller, sometime
And what did you
there.
think? I mean,
It's in my family. My father said it's on his side. I can't control it. I don't understand. I mean, it makes me very sad. I don't want to go into my medical history because that's something that's private, but that's the situation here. So please, when people see something like that.
I just want to get this straight.
Yeah.
You are not taking anything to change the color of your skin.
Oh God, no.
You did not purposely.
We're trying to control it, and using makeup evens it out because it makes blotches on the skin, and I have to even out my skin. But you know what's funny? Why is that so important? You know, that's not important to me.
Even with that response that Michael gave, the public was never satisfied, and even up to his death in 2009, there would still be rumors and speculation about his skin disorder. At that time, Michael adored Oprah and was excited to meet her, but it seems she was there just to get answers and answers only based upon her swift exit after the interview had wrapped. You know that moment where he goes to reach out for her and thank her and she brushes him off and keeps it pushing. But anyways, let's get back to the moment Michael mentioned his genealogy to Oprah.
Oh boy, sometime after Thriller, around Off the Wall Thriller, sometime
And what did you
there.
think? I mean,
It's in my family. My father said it's on his side. It's in my family. My father said it's on his side. It's in my family. My father said it's on his side.
Now, in that video clip, he mentions what his father Joseph told him regarding his grandfather Samuel's skin condition. Now, as Michael stated, his grandfather had vitiligo too, and it is proven here in this childhood photo of Michael being lifted into the air by his grandfather after a concert performance. If you look closely at the photo, you can see that there is a blotch on the side of Samuel Jackson's face, where it's a white blotch close to his ear and on his ear. Now let's take it a step further. In Jermaine Jackson's book, You Are Not Alone, Michael, Through a Brother's Eyes, he writes many different memories of the stories of Michael's vitiligo and reveals in the book the story of his own. He writes, "Untrue. Why are they saying these things?" "Oh, baby," says mother, but Michael's hand raises. He's still talking. "They're saying all these horrible things about me. I'm this, I'm that, I'm bleaching my skin, I'm hurting kids, I would never. It's untrue, it's all untrue," he says, his voice quiet, quivering. He starts pulling at his jacket like an exasperated child, wanting to get out of a costume, shifting onto both of his feet, ignoring his back pain. "Michael," mother starts, but the tears are coming now. "They can accuse me and make the world think they're so right, but they are so wrong. They are so wrong." Joseph is paralyzed by his own emotion. Mother's hands are to her face. Michael pulls at his jacket buttons and starts struggling out of its sleeves. It falls off of his shoulders and hangs backwards from his upper arms, revealing his bare chest. He is sobbing, "Look at me. Look at me. I'm the most misunderstood person in the world," he breaks down. He stands in front of us, head bowed as he feels in shame. It is the first time I have seen the true extent of his skin condition, and it shocks me. His self-consciousness is such that he has kept his body hidden from even his family until now. His torso is light brown, splashed with vast areas and blotches of white, spreading across his upper chest. One patch of white covers his ribs and stomach, another runs down his side, and blotches cover one shoulder and upper arm. There is more white than brown, his natural skin color. He looks like a white man splashed with coffee. This is the skin condition, the vitiligo, that a cynical world says he doesn't have, preferring to believe that he bleaches his skin. Now that was the prologue of Jermaine's book entitled 2005, which detailed the day Michael slipped and fallen and injured his back, which is the same day Michael stripped off his jacket and shirt, revealing his body to Joseph, Jermaine, and his mother Catherine. showing the condition of his body from the vitiligo. Despite they were his family, he never revealed or had taken off his clothes to ever had shown any of them how bad the skin disorder was for him. Also in Jermaine's book, he speaks about his own markings of vitiligo. He writes, "I woke up one morning concerned by a discolored area that had appeared on the inside of my left thigh, a white blemish, the size of a spot. It bothered me so much I had it checked out. The doc said it was a tiny area of vitiligo and was nothing to worry about unless it started to spread, and there were bigger issues to tackle, like acne." Even with Michael revealing to the public about his vitiligo in 1993 through Oprah, it wasn't believed. Michael's own brother telling the public in 2011 through the writing of his book wasn't enough because the public was still convinced of the realms of skin bleaching. Will they believe the truth of his vitiligo even in death? They still didn't believe the truth of Michael's vitiligo even after his autopsy report was made public. Let's look at pages 3 and 5 of the autopsy report taken after examination of his body. Now on page 3, on the area labeled Body Examination, it is documented, and I quote, "The descendant's overall skin has patches of light and brown pigmented areas." Then on page 5, labeled Anatomical Summary, it is documented on line number 3, simply typed vitiligo. There are official documents stating his condition, a condition he spent the duration of his life and career being harassed and belittled for. Now, Michael's story is a life lesson because it really made me think about the millions of others who also have the skin disease vitiligo and the everyday scrutiny they must face as well as their body is going through the changes of this disorder. Like I stated in the beginning of this project is dedicated to Michael Jackson and all the people around the world who are dealing with vitiligo. Just know that you're not alone, and hopefully this video project can help the world see through your eyes the pain, the struggle, the judgment, and so much more that everyone with this skin condition faces. So not only was Michael dealing with vitiligo, he was also dealing with lupus, and these disorders caused a drastic change in the look of his skin. Now remember, in the second half of the video, Michael sat down with Oprah and revealed to her that vitiligo is in his genealogy, but never revealed to her that it came directly from his grandfather Samuel. Now, as this is a family trait of the Jackson family, Michael passed this trait down to his son, Prince Michael Joe Jackson Jr., who developed vitiligo in his right armpit. Vitiligo is obviously a Jackson family trait. Samuel Jackson has vitiligo, Michael Jackson has vitiligo, Jermaine Jackson has vitiligo, Prince Michael Jackson Jr. has vitiligo. What more proof is needed?